The Toronto Maple Leafs ink a multi-year extension with head coach Sheldon Keefe. We'll break down this signing and discuss GM Brad Treliving's comments to the media, so you're going to want to stick around on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into all of that, we just want to say that 96% of you guys aren't subscribed, so make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button if you're looking for a home to daily NHL and Leafs content. But with that said, let's get right into the main topic of this video, which is Leafs extend their coach of the future. And of course, today Toronto released on social media that they signed head coach Sheldon Keefe to a multi-year contract extension. But per Elliot Friedman, he reports that the deal is a 2-year extension, which would keep Keefe in Toronto for 3 more years. And Treliving talked to the media today, and he said, "I think Sheldon is a top coach. When you've got good people, you want to keep them. This gets done because I think we have a good coach here." He also goes on to say, "Since I've joined the Maple Leafs, I've been very impressed with Sheldon. He has shown great leadership skills with his staff and our players, and has a clear vision for this team and where it needs to get to. Sheldon has established himself as one of the top coaches in the league, and I look forward to working alongside him as we head into the upcoming season." And as we take a look here at Keefe's comments, he says, "Coaching this team has been a great privilege, and I'm truly excited at the opportunity to continue building towards our ultimate goal. I'm thankful for the support from MLSE, its ownership along with Brendan Shanahan and Brad Treliving, who I've really enjoyed getting to know and work with this offseason. We have so many great players and people within our organization that I'm grateful to work with, and together our commitment to team success remains steadfast." Obviously, Mark, this was big news coming out today. Sheldon Keefe has been working out in Toronto over the last 4 years, I think, and I think this is such a great extension and well deserved.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. You can kind of see the situation now where the Leafs are really starting to hammer down and get everything fixed. They got Matthews signed, they have Keefe. Nylander's still unsigned, but that's just a situation on its own. But you can see that Toronto's trying to, like I've said before, build this chemistry. They want everyone together. They know this core can do it. And I mean, you look at a guy like Keefe, he has a 166, 71, and 30 record with the Toronto Maple Leafs, which has him at a 68 point, I think it's 1% win percentage over his career with them, which is top of all time for the Toronto Maple Leafs, just ahead of a guy like Pat Quinn, who's just, I think, 8% lower than him. So, I mean, you have a guy like this, you really do need to extend him. It seems like the team likes him. He's been around. He's kind of getting used to everyone, the past couple of years. He has a couple new guys he has to look at, but he's been around for a lot of development of these guys. He had Matthews in his early 20s, Marner, Nylander. He got Tavares in, when he was named captain. And it's a situation where I really think you need to lock him up, and it gives you 3 years to let him prove himself in this organization.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. I think as a well-deserved extension, he's been a coach now, and I think they just want to run it back, like you said, with this, with little tweaks to the roster. They want to kind of run it back because it worked last season. They obviously broke that slump, getting out of the first round. He's obviously a great coach, and in this interview today on the media with Treliving, he also said that he's still getting to know the players, but what he's heard from the players is that they were really wanted him back, and he's just helping their development, and just he's just an overall good coach. Which when you're getting that type of feedback from players, it's just what you want to hear as a coach.
Yeah, no, and you've seen him kind of come through the Leaf system. I mean, he started with the Marlies. He won the championship with the Marlies, and I think it was 2016, 17. He's coached a guy like Nylander and Liljegren when he was down in the AHL. And I mean, one thing I do like looking at, the year before they won the Calder Cup, they got knocked out in the second round the previous year. So, they got knocked out in the round last year with the Leafs. So you never know. Maybe they'll win the chip this year, and it's kind of keeping the trend going. But I think overall, he's one of the top coaches in the league. Sometimes you can see situations where he might get outplayed a tiny bit. I mean, it happened when they played Tampa one year. But I mean, a guy like John Cooper is such a good coach with a lot of experience. And I think Keefe is finally starting to get his groove in. He's getting this team. He has one of the best teams the Leafs have ever had. And I think, this team is just due for wonders. And I think he is going to be a major piece for this team as well.
I'm gonna take maybe a hot take here, Mark. I don't really do make many hot takes here, but I think over this next 3 years in Toronto, I think we're going to see a coach of the year go to Sheldon Keefe. I think, with the team that Treliving has put together this offseason, I think, like, with adding players like Reeves and Benoit and Domi and Bertuzzi and these gritty type of players, I really think they're going to fit in really well in Keefe's system. And I think it's going to, help the team out drastically. Even adding guys on the back end like Klingberg, I think, it gives Sheldon Keefe so much more options now to kind of do his own thing with it. And obviously, he learned from Mike Babcock a little bit. So, obviously, you got to take that with a grain of salt. But, he has proven to be a great coach on himself. And I think, with this roster, I think if it's not this year, I think we can see a coach of the year in the future for Sheldon Keefe for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like we were saying, the roster on the Leafs, I mean, it's incredible. They added so much this year. The chemistry is probably going to be an all-time high. You got a guy like Reeves coming in, just kind of bringing the chemistry of the team. And I think, with Sheldon there, the one thing I didn't like about him last year, he kind of had his two toys in Justin Hull and Kerfoot, where he'd kind of play him a little too much and maybe put him too far up in the lineup. But with two of them gone, I think, it's going to be a situation where he has such a deep roster, he has so much to play with and toy with that I think he's going to find out the best combinations for these lines. I think this team's going to be successful. Hopefully Stanley Cup, and yes, I do agree that a coach of the year could be definitely in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And like you kind of said about Hall, I think he kind of has this with Timmins and Benoit. He can kind of plug and play these guys in. I think these are the type of players that he loves having in the bottom pairings, and I think we can see them in the lineup this season because with Giordano getting up there in age, I don't think we're going to see him play a full 82. So he can kind of plug and play with Timmins or Benoit, and whoever plays the best is obviously going to secure that job of coming in. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see. I think his system is going to really work this year with Toronto, and I think a deep playoff runs in order. What do you think?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Well, I hope a deep playoff runs in order. I can definitely see them improving from last year, even if it's just a Stanley Cup Finals appearance or an Eastern Conference Finals appearance or just the President's Trophy in general. I think this team, like I said, is going to be quite successful. And the one thing I like about this signing is it gives them a bit of time to cool down. I mean, obviously, if you're at a job, you don't know if you're going to be there for the next week, the next 2 weeks, the next year, the next 2 years. You're going to get a little stressed out, and when things start going bad, you're going to really put it on yourself. So at least now he knows, listen, we have 3 years. I can prove myself. I'm not just here because Dubas hired me. He's now the Toronto Maple Leafs head coach. It's not just Dubas's coach. And I think this is going to work out perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think, with the stress kind of lifted off his shoulders, I think he can really blossom now as a coach now, not going into a year where it may be his last season. He has that extension now, and he doesn't have to be worried. I think we'll obviously see more once we get into camp, but I think, this is just going to be a great year for Keefe and the Toronto Maple Leafs. But Leafs fans, there's still one more to go. Nylander is left. I'm sure it's going to be finished off here before the season starts or a little bit into the season. But they're 2 out of 3, so that's pretty good in my eyes. But I really do think Nylander's going to get extended. It's just a matter of time. But we'll leave that for another day, and we're going to get into our next topic here, which is of course comment of the day. And our comment of the day today goes to Daniel. He says, KC and Mark, not sure why listeners aren't subscribed. I listen from Toronto. Keep it up, boys. Cheers. Go Leafs. Go. Shout out to you, Daniel. Thanks for watching the videos. We see your comments down there all the time, and we just appreciate you watching the videos and liking the videos. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to go down, drop a like, comment down below. What do you think of this Keefe extension? I'm sure a lot of you Leafs fans are pretty ecstatic. You don't got to worry about the coach rumors anymore. He's locked up for the next 3 years. So I've been KC alongside my co-host Mark Pye. Keep your stick on the ice.